Hello there.
Welcome back, my friend.
Hello, what have we here?
Jedi, we've been expecting you.
Knew I could count on you.
Hello.
Welcome to the rebellion.
What fun!
What is up, everyone? Hybrid here, bringing you this week's episode of Black Series of Yesteryear, the retrospective series where I talk about Black Series waves of, well, yesteryear. So, today we are going to be talking about the 12th wave to come out in the red and black line. This is a wave that I am incredibly sentimental for. This is the first wave of Last Jedi figures, and I have a whole story about tracking this set down. So, I am just super sentimental on this set. So, to tell the story quickly, I went out for Force Friday in 2017, and I went to my local most Toys R Us, because we still had those back then, and I figured, man, if there's anywhere that's not going to drop the ball on a Force Friday, it would be Toys R Us, you know, like the big toy store. So I'm down at the Toys R Us in Niles, Ohio. I'm waiting for midnight to come, and as they open up at midnight, it's me and like 5 other people outside, you know, just so you know, like the insane crowd this was drawing. They had a free promo poster of the First Order Walkers, and I grabbed that, and they had a store-exclusive Commander Gree that they had accidentally put in stock online the day before, so I'd already ordered that. It was in the mail on its way. And they did not get any action figures. They got lightsabers, they got the Lego stuff, but their Hasbro action figure shipment had not shown up. And so I took my free poster and I left. And I was like, oh man. And it was like 12:20 at this point, and there's a Target by that Toys R Us, and the Target had already closed. They were doing the midnight open thing, but apparently there was even less people there or whatever. I don't know what the story is. So anyway, I was like, my last hope is Walmart. And I went to the Walmart in Warren, Ohio, and they had an end cap that they had just set up, and it was loaded with all the new Black Series. So I grabbed the entire wave. I doubled up on the Stormtrooper, and so I am just like, this is one of my like first like legendary hauls, if you will. So I got home at about 1 a.m. with all my new toys, and it was just a great time. So that said, let's talk about these toys. So this wave features 7 figures, 2 of which are technically repacks, and so we will open with them. Figure number, I believe, 43 is Darth Vader as he appears in A New Hope. He had come out earlier this year on a New Hope 40th Anniversary retro card as a new figure, so this was his introduction to the main line. So we've not actually talked about him in a Black Series of Yesteryear yet, so we will just acknowledge he technically is a repack at the time. But it's a pretty good figure, all said, for 2017 standards. You know, they reuse parts of this to date. I don't despise this figure. There are just parts of it that have become very dated over time. For instance, the double-pinned legs. Something about Darth Vader having thunder thighs. This figure kind of has some chunky thighs. But he's objectively got some good shelf presence. I really like the soft goods of his cape. They have a nice weight to them. They drape nicely. His lightsaber looks excellent. You know, it's just a great figure. I really do like this one. And then the other one that's technically a repack, figure number 48, the Stormtrooper. This is technically a repack of the figure dating all the way back to Orange Line Wave 3. We had not seen this guy for a long time in the line, to the point that army building Imperial Stormtroopers had gotten to be a little bit expensive. And then same as that Vader, they'd put this guy on the A New Hope retro card earlier in the year, so the mold was back out there. And then they put him in the red and black line. So same weapons as before, same paint, no difference. It is a repack, reuse of that old articulation. But yeah, they brought him back after a few years. I do think ultimately it made sense. We did see Imperial Stormtroopers in Rogue One, and we saw Vader in Rogue One. So it kind of made sense to get these back in the line as the Rogue One hype. It was getting to be about a year old at that point, but still, you know, they are characters that do need to be pretty evergreen in the line. And I would like to point out that since then, Vader and the Imperial Stormtrooper have generally been easier to get a hold of. Up until this point, they had gotten to be rather expensive figures. So now, now that we are going to talk about everything that has not been a repack, figure number 42, we are getting some Star Wars Rebels love with Hera Syndulla as she appears in Season 1. This figure was so exciting to get. We hadn't gotten a new Rebels figure in 2 or 3 waves with Sabine Wren, who was then the first Rebels figure for like 2 waves before that. They were starting to sprinkle in that Ghost crew, and I was so excited to be getting these guys anywhere I could on the line. And Hera, in my opinion, is one of the best of the Rebels figures. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see Hasbro, like, just redo all the Rebel Season 1 figures, bring them up to 2026 standards. But if they were like, yo, we're gonna, like, do Kanan and Sabine and Ahsoka, like, the 3 oldest, you know, and then the others have to just stay as they are, I would begrudgingly accept that. So, Hera, you know, she's got some dated things, the double pin knees, the thigh swivel, whatever, but she looked really, really good. She had painted eyes at the time, but I think the alien, the Twi'lek likeness, really kind of helps hide that a little bit. You know, there is a photoreal reissue that came out a couple years after, and I would argue that is the definitive one, and not very expensive on the aftermarket. But this figure was just really cool to get at the time. It was just really, really fun getting a new Rebels character after what it felt like for ages. It had been like a year since the Sabine came out. Because remember, while I do this series weekly, you know, every week we talk about a wave. So you're like, oh, like 3 episodes ago you talked about Sabine. Like, that's 3 waves of Black Series coming out every like 4 months. Like, you know, it was a while ago. So it was just really cool getting a Hera figure. Moving on to figure number 45, we are going to start getting into the exciting stuff here. We have Rey in her Jedi training gear. This figure was made available at San Diego Comic-Con in a 2-pack with Luke, and this was the public release. I'm not really going to call it a repack, because that's like a special pack, if you will. This figure, in my opinion, holds up to date. It would be nice to get a photo reel on it, but the articulation is nice, and it's my favorite Rey outfit. I really did like the kind of like gray-blue robes that she had going on. Very similar to her Jakku outfit, but it's different too. This Rey finally gave us her blaster after so many repacks from the first movie not giving us her blaster at all. She comes packed with her staff that she barely used this movie, and of course, the legendary Skywalker lightsaber. Everything you can want in this she came with, and I did really like this figure. I still do. I still think it's one of the better sequel trilogy figures. So, and even for a painted face, it's not horrible. Moving on to figure number 45 is Kylo Ren. This is his appearance for Last Jedi, of course. He comes with a rubber cape, which kind of sucks, but later there was a store exclusive featuring a soft goods one and a base. We might make a special episode just about those base figures, just to talk about them. But this figure's really good. It has a painted face that, again, I would love a photo reel, but it's not the most offensive painted face the line has. He comes with his lightsaber lit and unlit because, as we started to discuss, the Kylo Ren lightsaber is just hard to do the removable blades with. So they elected to just give a swappable, you know, you turn it off, you just give him a whole different hilt to put in his hand, and that's fine, it works well. I think the articulation on this Kylo Ren also is not the worst considering the era. I think it still holds up to date. While I would like to see a head-to-toe new figure, if they were just like, hey, you want that Adam Driver photo reel, we're archiving this figure, fine, I would take that, begrudgingly, but I would take it. Figure number 46 is Luke Skywalker in his Jedi Master robes. We had been waiting for this since that literal cliffhanger at the end of The Force Awakens, and he wears this outfit in the beginning of The Last Jedi. This is his white robes with the cloak. Soft goods were a little bit fiddly on this one. I remember I had to just ultimately superglue mine down at the shoulders and just permanently attach it, which, who cares? You're not going to take that cloak off of him. But the likeness on this, again, the articulation is not offensive, but the painted face is very rough. There might be a good sculpt at the core of this. Maybe it could be painted. This is a figure that, again, I would like a redo of, but if they were like, hey, we're going to archive it, I would not argue. So, I think this Luke Skywalker definitely needs a little bit of work. It wasn't the best at the time, but I was also just happy to get a Luke Skywalker all the same. Figure number 47, coming back to that Rebels love, is Grand Admiral Thrawn. This was a really fun figure to get. We were getting into Season 3 of the show, and so while the Black Series was still giving us Season 1 versions of the Ghost crew, I think Hasbro knew better than to not make a Thrawn figure. Now, while this has ultimately become a Legends Thrawn for many, now that we know that Lars Mikkelsen plays him in live action, and therefore that is what Thrawn looks like in a live action depiction. This one, of course, was bringing the animation, to life, and so it's a little bit of a stylized appearance, and one that I was happy to retire when the Ahsoka Series 1 came out. But it is, Thrawn. He's wearing that white Grand Admiral uniform. He comes with his pistol, the pale blue skin. Very contrasty on that red and black box, might I say. Also, I believe he became fairly hard to get. Again, I got lucky and found this whole wave at Triple Force Friday. Or not Triple Force, just Force Friday 2017. Triple Force was 2019. But it was just really cool finding this wave all at retail, grabbing all these guys. They were some really, really good figures, and I'm just really happy that I have that story. I mean, a story is half of the fun of collecting sometimes. So I'm really, really ultimately happy that I was able to secure the bag here and get everyone. These are figures that I still have in the collection to date, and I still cherish them, and I'm still happy to have that story of that time that Toys R Us tried to ruin Force Friday. So rest peacefully, Toys R Us. But anyways, thank you for listening to me ramble for as long as I have rambled. This was just a fun time to be collecting. I was super excited. Any of these sequel trilogy Force Fridays, I just had a lot of fun at. So I'm gonna go work on something else now. Thank you so much. I will catch you next time. Until then, may the Force be with you, and I hope you all continue to have a great day. Bye.